Welcome, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to NSway 73 TV. Take a moment and hit that subscribe button, hit the like, share this episode with everybody that you know if you like what you're seeing and hearing. And leave me a comment. I like to see what you guys think, and your feedback is well appreciated. But joining me today, I have a person that I hope you guys, as well as myself, are going to get to learn a lot more about him. He seems like someone that's been around for a long time, but you may not know. I hear he's some of your favorite producers' favorite producer. Let's see if that's true or not. Which I think, from what I've heard, I agree, and I think so as well. But I have none other than Manny Stylz joining me today, man. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Pleasure. Yes, sir.
sir.
Yes, sir. It's a pleasure, man. I appreciate you taking the time. And like I said, I want to get to know a lot more about yourself and, what you have done, a little bit about your background and what you're doing these days. So if you don't mind, if you could take a few minutes, and I know you're a Harlem native, right?
Yes, sir. Born and raised.
If you can talk a little bit about, growing up in Harlem and sort of describe the atmosphere of what was going on at the time.
Okay. First of all, thank you again for having me on the platform. I appreciate it. I go by Manny Stylz. Like you said, I was born in Harlem. I'm born and raised in Harlem. Born 1962. You know what I'm saying? So I got a chance I was fortunate enough to come up, as hip-hop. Me and hip-hop kind of grew up together. We came up together. So I'm from the middle of Harlem. I'm from 120th Street, St. Nicholas Avenue. Right in the heart of Harlem.
Right.
And the experience was, it was pretty dope, man. Like growing up in Harlem, I couldn't really see myself coming up anyplace else. Real kind of sense of community. I knew everybody in the neighborhood. I was kind of a popular kid in that, I used to move around quite a bit. I knew everybody. Uptown, downtown, Lower East Side. I used to get around, go to Queens and the Bronx, Brooklyn, and stuff like that. So, I got around quite a bit.
What is it in particular that had you moving around so much? Like some might have said, could have been through sports or were you just exploring?
I was just the type of dude, I was never really happy with just hanging out on the block. I always wanted to see more of what was out there. Growing up in New York, period, was just an exciting thing. It was always something to do, always something going on. So I just was hungry to see what was out there. And not necessarily trying to get in trouble or nothing like that, but it was just, it was just really exciting.
Right. Now, around the time that you're describing, though, was it a little bit difficult as far as maneuvering through different neighborhoods and stuff like that at that time?
I wouldn't really say so. I mean, New York is New York. It's like any other big city. Of course, there was crime and stuff like that. There was things happening in the news, but like I said, Harlem is kind of like a village. It's kind of like a really big community, so to speak. So even though that there was things going on in the hood, there were certain kids that weren't into certain things in the hood, and then there were certain people that were into those things that kept the other ones of us away from those things. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I was kind of a good kid coming up, so the OGs in my neighborhood made sure I didn't really get in no trouble and nothing like that. So moving around wasn't really nothing for me. I came up with that notion to just get out there and see what was up, and I never really had no fear moving around like that.
Right. So now, can you talk a little bit about, what some of the things that you might have been into at the, talking to more or less teenage years,
okay.
As far as the scene.
Well, let me back up. Let me go a little bit before my teenage years. Like I said, me and hip hop came up around the same time. So I want to say hip hop. My first recollection of hip hop was way before the music. It was my introduction to hip hop was through basically graffiti.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And that happened, like I said, I was born in '62. So let's see. when I was introduced to graffiti, I think I was like in the 4th grade by that time. So I probably was like 11 years old, 10 years old, somewhere around there. Right. So that was my first introduction. And again, that was super exciting, bro. You know, just me going to school. Go ahead.
Yeah. No. I'm just curious. So what were you seeing? Like that, you're talking very early on as far as even graph goes. So what exactly were you seeing? You know, because I know from what I've heard, you know, early on there was a lot of more like tags going on. You know, people just writing. You know, it was more like tags and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to recall some of the tags that was popular at the time. I want to say people like Stay High 149.
Okay.
I was really impressed by him because his tag is real simple. Like it's, you know, like real simple. Stay high. Not a lot of colors most of the time. Not a lot of like balloon lettering. You know, stuff like that. But he was everywhere. That guy was on every train. You know what I'm saying? And he had like a little stick man that was his logo.
Okay.
And yeah, so that was kind of intriguing to me. And then I want to say Dondi, another cat named Dondi. I forget where he was from. Dondi was all over the place. I want to say Gem Star, I think GEM Star, Jack Star, another one. So yeah, these were names that were popular, you know, like in the early stages as far as I know. And this is like in the early 70s. I want to say like 1970, like 70, 71.
70. Okay.
Yeah,
wow.
Somewhere around there.
So now, did it pique your interest as far as did you want to try to take, you know, a stab at doing what you saw, or not? Not really.
Yeah, I think I tried it. You know, what was popular at the time was us making our own magic markers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, those of us who either didn't have the heart to go in the store and steal the magic markers or steal the paint, or couldn't afford to buy them, like, you know, some of us were kind of industrious and some of us were better than others at making these magic markers. So I tried to do that. I thought that was kind of cool to be able to make a magic marker and like write a name somewhere. And I think one of the reasons why I really didn't get into graph was, for one, I wasn't really a good artist like that. Like I couldn't draw, stuff like that. And for two, I couldn't really think of a name, like a tag name.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I thought that was like, you know, like if you can't think of a name, then what are you going to write? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
when you talk about making the markers, is that with the, because I know they were using the erasers, like the chalkboard erasers?
Yeah, definitely. We used to steal erasers from school, and we would take like the Vaseline jars, the plastic Vaseline jars, and stuff erasers in there and some other stuff. I think cotton. And there was a certain technique that you had to do it so that when you put the ink inside the jar, right, and the cotton would absorb the ink, and then you put the eraser on top of the cotton, you know, the eraser was actually the tip of the magic marker, right? But it was a technique that you had to know, like, because some of them would come out real dope, but if you didn't know how to do it, it would be super sloppy.
Right. Ink was probably dripping everywhere.
Yeah, that was me. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So, man, Harlem, very early on, you talked about the graph. Now, what are you experiencing as far as the culture, you know, like, because obviously this is way before the term even hip-hop existed.
Yeah.
So what are you seeing as far as the development?
I'm seeing everything and not really even knowing that I'm seeing everything.
It's just happening. It's just something that's happening.
It's all happening real fast. Like, at first, when I was a kid, like around that time that I was just describing to you, the music that was popular then in the early 70s was disco music.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And disco was real popular at that time, but it was kind of starting to die out a little bit. Disco music was popular, like funk music, soul music was real popular back then. You know, James Brown, Stevie Wonder, you know, all the classics, all the standards, those were all popular. Marvin Gaye, all those guys. But then, as the 70s kind of moved on, disco music kind of started to take a back seat, and then you started to kind of see the kids in the street started like paying attention to a different kind of music. Like not really a different kind of music, but we started playing the music a little differently, I think.
Okay.
You know what I mean? We went from
Right.
listening to the music at home and on the radio to kind of like coming outside and playing the music outside.
So it kind of created a different atmosphere.
Yeah, and I think once that happened, that's it kind of evolved into something else. We were playing the same music, but we were playing it differently,
Mm-hmm.
and we were playing it to a younger crowd. Like we were kind of like starting to communicate amongst ourselves at that point.
Okay. Now, did you get to witness or see what was happening as far as we all know there was like different gangs at the time.
Yeah.
That eventually a lot of those gangs kind of morphed into crews. Kind of.
Yes.
Did you witness any of that happening?
Yeah, my big cousins, like my OGs, was part of that. Like we had the Savage Spades,
Mm-hmm.
and in Queens we had the Seven Crowns.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I think the Seven Crowns eventually, if I'm not mistaken, don't quote me on this, but I think the Seven Crowns out in Queens eventually moved on to become the Supreme Team. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
Right. And then of course in the Bronx we had like what I said, the Savage Spades. We had the man, it was so many.
The Black Spades was
the Black Spades. Right.
Yeah.
Did I say the Savage? Maybe it was the Savage Skulls.
It was some Savage
that.
Skulls. Yeah.
Thank
Savage
you.
Skulls, Black
Right.
Spades. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So did you kind of see like that? I don't know. I guess transition would be or
I did. Yeah, I seen that. And yeah, I was there for a lot of that. Like I said, I wasn't really a bad kid, but I seen all that going on in the hood. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I seen gang fights and all of that. My bigger cousins was part of gangs, and so I seen them getting into it, what they used to call rumbles back in the day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Carrying knives and chains and stuff like that. There was no real shootings and stuff like that. They used to get it on by hand, up close and personal. So I seen that. But then I also seen, like, a lot of that was just being done out of, like, because dudes was poor. There was nothing really else to do. You know what I'm saying? We had a lot of energy. There was no programs going on. They took all the music out of the schools. All the music programs, had gotten taken away from the schools. And it was just a bunch of restless energy on the street. So, like, people kind of, like, turned, on each other, so to speak.
Yeah.
But then came hip-hop. As, it wasn't even called hip-hop yet. But then this street culture came that changed everything. And so, at some point, the guys that used to fight with each other, they were smart enough and brave enough to come together and have, like, what we used to call powwows and, talk about that. Like, how are we going to, instead of us fighting each other, like, how can we come together and overcome all the, poverty and struggle that we go through? And, fortunately, what we came to know as hip-hop came along and kind of helped usher in that new, that new wave for young people.
Right. So now, what you mentioned about the graph, how that caught your attention. Now we're kind of moving into things happening simultaneously as far as like the way music is being played, which of course is going to influence the the kids that are listening to the music and coming up with dances, like we all know, evolves throughout time. So what's the next thing that catches your attention as far as what we know as hip-hop at that time?
Me personally, I want to say, I got to think about that, because like I said, it was a whole bunch going on at one time, bro. The first thing I noticed was the graffiti. That was the first thing that caught my eye, because at the time, I think I was in like 3rd or 4th grade, and I was going to St. Thomas, the Apostle Catholic schools on 118th Street and St. Nicholas Avenue in Harlem, right? Mm-hmm. And that school was kind of quote unquote prestigious, and so I had a lot of kids from different places coming to my school. I went to school. You might be familiar with famous street hustler Zip, rest in peace Zip. I went to school with Zip's little sister. You know what I'm saying? I had people from like uptown Washington Heights come to my school, and as a matter of fact, that's where I got my first introduction to the culture. Is my man James Campbell. I met him in 3rd or 4th grade, right? And when he came to my school, he used to go to another Catholic school uptown, but he was a troublemaker. He got kicked out of his Catholic school, and they sent him to my school, right? But we befriended each other. My man was cool. He was real cool. He had a lot of culture. He knew a lot of things that I didn't know. He was into things, and we were the same age, but he was much more mature than me. You know what I'm saying? And that intrigued me, like, you know. And he used to tag. You know what I'm saying? I think his tag name was Jockey 183 or something like that. Or something like that. So that was my first introduction. That's what really intrigued me. So then through that, I started moving around different hoods. Now I'm hearing the music. Now I'm seeing breakdancing. I think that might have been, like, that kind of happened simultaneously, the breakdancing and like the way the people was playing the music now. You know what I mean? And, you know, Jimmy Casterbunch just begun. That was always a staple in the hood, but now they playing it and these dudes are spinning on their heads to it on cardboard. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
That was intriguing. Like, and now, like, everybody is electrified by this. At the same time, like, every kid is electrified by this new thing that's happening. You know, all the gangsters, all the street dudes, all the nerds, like, everybody is electrified by this new thing that's happening. So that was kind of, in my best estimation, my best recollection, I think that's the best. That's kind of like how things progressed. First it was the graph, then it was the music and the breakdancing kind of at the same time. And then things started happening to me personally. Like, dudes in my hood started getting involved in this. I want to say one of the first people that I knew personally that got involved in what we became to know as hip-hop was Spoonie G.
Wow. Okay.
World famous pioneer hip-hopper, Spoonie G, right? Spoonie G is a few years younger than me. I just turned 63 on my last birthday. Spoonie G is yeah, that's a blessing, bro.
Hell yeah.
Spoonie G just he was a few years younger than me, and I remember him. Like, I used to have a lot of jobs in the hood. Like, I used to work in the steak and take. I don't know if you remember the steak and takes back in the day. Yeah, we had them everywhere. The Muslims in the hood used to own the steak and takes, right? They was owned by the mosque. So we had steak and takes everywhere, in every neighborhood, on every corner. Ask anybody.
Steak and takes.
Steak and take. We used to sell steak sandwiches, just, you know, like steak and cheese sandwiches. They call them, what you call it? When you go to the bodega now and you ask for, what you call that? The chopped cheese?
Oh, yeah. I don't even know what the hell chopped cheese is, to be honest.
Thank you. Well,
and I'm out here in New York, too, but.
Right. So anyway, I used to have a lot of jobs in the hood. I worked in the steak and take. I worked in, you know, this store, that store. I worked in the bike shop, which is another story I got for you. Okay. Shout out to my man Cool Mo D. And Spoonie G used to live with his grandparents, if I'm not mistaken, in the hood, like down the block from me, right?
Okay.
And he used to see me. We used to see each other all the time. He'd be like, "Yo, can you get me a job here? Can you get me one of these jobs that you got?" Like, you know, and we was cool. So then I think I might have gotten him a job in the supermarket, right? Then he went from that, and mind you, like, at this point, I'm probably 14.
Young.
Something like that. Yeah, super young. And I'm telling you, Harlem, man, everything happened all at once. I'm a little kid, right? So, you know, that's my man. I helped him get something. Then he started moving. He got a job in the cleaners. Then he started doing this. Next thing you know, my man got a record. I'm like, what? Like, how you do that, bro?
Yeah.
He came out, I think the first record he had, the very first record Spoonie G had was what? Come on, help me out here, please.
Wasn't it the super? No.
Was it Super Rapping?
Super Rapping? I think
was
so.
Was that it?
I believe so.
Yo, when I heard that, I could not believe it, and I think that turned the light on in in my spirit for hip
But
hop.
wait, so but you didn't like. There was no mention. He didn't tell you anything about like, yo,
Nah,
you
because
had
like
no idea this guy was rhyming. or
nah,
anything.
because like after I hooked him up with the first job, like he started moving. He started like doing things on his own.
Okay.
And then I noticed like he started getting a lot more mature. The way he dressed changed. You know, he started becoming a little more fly. I thought he was hustling. That's what I thought he was doing.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because the way his whole demeanor kind of changed. He went from this little kid, younger than me, to started acting like this.
Same.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Now his clothes changed. He got the AJ Lester clothes on. With the, you familiar with AJ Lester?
AJ Lester, I'm familiar with it. Yeah.
Okay, AJ Lester's a big store that like all the hustlers used to shop at AJ Lester. Anybody who wanted to look like something in the hood used to shop at AJ Lester on 125th Street, right?
Okay.
And so that's the kind of demeanor that he took on, like, you know, whatever. So then he came out with the record. Then he came out with another one.
So Spoon and Rap is the first one.
Spoon and Rap.
1979. Spoon and Rap. Then he had a couple of others.
Yes, y'all. To the beach, y'all. Something like that. You know what I'm
Spoon
saying?
and Rap, yeah.
Yeah. Then he came out
that's
with
crazy.
another one, Super Rapping, I think.
So when he's coming out with that now, did you have contact with him at that point?
All the time. I mean, at that point, it kind of diminished a little bit, but I'm still in the hood. I'm still doing me. Like, you know, I'm still going to school and seeing my friends. And now, don't get me wrong. Like, I think I might be kind of missing a few things here and there because this has happened a long time ago, right? Yeah. But I think at the same time, now we starting to have little jams in the hood. Like, they starting to bring the equipment outside and plug up to the light pole and all that. So now I'm becoming more aware of the scene. And it had to be somebody had to have a record out. Somebody had to have a record out before Spoonie G. Maybe the Treacherous 3 or something like that.
Okay.
But like at this point that I'm talking about now it's probably called hip hop or maybe rap.
Okay. Wait. But hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
Because so you talked about Spoonie G, but you just
Right.
mentioned you just shouted out Kumo D before.
Yeah.
So wait, because you just said Treacherous 3 might have been out before. So wait, what's the connection with Kumo D?
I mean, okay, well, my connection with Kool Mo D personally is a couple things. First of all, Kool Mo D is also from Harlem. He's from Edgecombe Avenue, a little bit up the street from me, right? And his family used to own a chain of bike stores in Harlem.
Okay.
They used to own the Harlem Bicycle Center, and I was very proficient at building my own bikes growing up. You heard?
Okay.
So I used to work in the bike store, and Modi's family used to own it. So I'm cool with his brothers, his little brothers. In fact, don't get me lying again, man. But his little brothers and even his little cousins, they was in the rap crew too, and they had dope records out back in the day. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So yeah, that's my personal connection to Modi. You know what I'm saying? I worked for his family. And I carry records for these guys too. Like, you know what I'm saying? I can't forget about that. You know, like all these dudes that I'm mentioning, Modi, Spoonie G, another guy that I grew up with is Barry B from Dougie Fresh and the Get Fresh crew.
Yeah.
Yeah, Barry B is from my neighborhood. I'm from 120th in St. Nick. Barry B is from 118th Street, between 8th and St. Nick. So he's from right around the corner from me. And go ahead.
So no. I'm just saying. So, are you just kind of because everybody's from around the way type of stuff, and you're just hanging out?
Mm-hmm.
Like you saying, you carried records for a lot of them. How did that come about? You just happened to be around, and
I was kind of like a little hustler in a way. Like I used to, if I seen something I wanted to get into, I'll step up. I'll be like, "Yo, can I do that?"
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like they would bring out, like we had a crew in the neighborhood called D&D Express. I'll never forget these brothers, man. 2 OGs that used to bring their equipment out, and they had big speakers, everything was big. You could hear this shit from blocks, right? And they used to let me get on their turntables. Just because I was such a hip hop fan, like I used to come to all their parties and stand right in the front and look at everything they was doing. And they, at some point they used to let me start carrying their records and stuff like that. They'd be walking by my block carrying big speakers and whatever, and I'd be like, "Yo, can I help?" And I would do that with, Dougie Fresh and Barry B,
So you're seeing an early get
Seen
fresh
it all,
crew.
bro. I seen all that,
Early get fresh.
all that.
So
Man, I seen. Mhm.
No. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, you had asked me about, you asked me a question earlier, and I got so many memories, bro. They all flooding in my head right now.
Yeah.
You know, I
So
seen a whole bunch.
what do you see if you were hanging out with Barry B, for example? What did you see as far as that whole thing with Dougie Fresh, the Get Fresh crew?
You know what? First of all, hold on. Before we go on, I misspoke. It's not Barry B. My man Chill Will was the other DJ from.
Sure, what was the other one? Yeah.
Right. And Chill Will, pardon me, y'all.
It's okay.
Pardon me, Barry B. Chill Will is my man from 118th Street.
Okay.
I mistakenly said Barry B, but it's Chill Will.
Okay. So what are you seeing early on as far as that whole movement with Dougie Fresh and the?
Everything. They doing shows outside. I think this is before they had the show out, and before even Slick Rick got down with them. They was like doing jams in the park.
Okay.
They would like come outside, and Chill Will and Barry B would set up the equipment, like have turntables in the back, and Dougie Fresh and whoever else was like, it was mostly Dougie Fresh, and he would get on and just be rapping, controlling the crowd. You know what I'm saying? Doing the human beatbox, and his DJs is spinning the music, and it's like hundreds of kids out there, like, being entertained by these guys. You know what I'm saying?
Did you think at that time when you're like hanging around, let's say Barry B and some of those guys, that they were going to turn out to become what they became?
Never.
No.
Never.
At
That's
that point,
Mm-hmm.
at that time, it still wasn't really. You couldn't really. It was just happening. It was brand new, so it wasn't really foreseen that, like, the record industry and all of that type stuff, right?
Not really. I mean, like I said, I kind of seen it gradually, bro. But like, maybe I didn't have the foresight to see what people like another dude, Andre Harrell. He's from my neighborhood too. Mm-hmm. He's from like 100. I think he's from like Foster Projects or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Which is not
Teddy
too far
Isn't
from
Teddy
Harrell.
Riley around there?
Teddy Riley's from my neighborhood.
Right.
Keith Sweat is from my neighborhood. There's a lot. There's a lot. I could go on and on, but I'm sorry, I forgot the question you asked.
No, I was just saying about think if at that moment, if you were able to kind of tell or think that these guys were going to go on to become, what we know now as legends.
No. And I kind of gradually seen them becoming like hood stars. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of cool with that. My young mind was like, yo, these guys, I looked up to these dudes, man. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And they carried themselves like celebrities, but they were real people. Like, they didn't act high and mighty. You know what I'm saying? You could touch them, you could talk to them. I could walk up to them and carry records for them and stuff like that. Like, they were accessible, you know what I'm saying? And that made it even more of a connection for me. It was like we had a culture. Plus it was a New York thing too. Like, we all, like, first of all, Harlem is a village, right, of its own. Then Harlem is also inside of the city of Manhattan, which is also its own little entity. Now you got the Bronx, which is also its own entity, which hip hop, everybody says, started in the Bronx. Now you got Queens, which is this whole other thing. You know what I'm saying? And you got Brooklyn, which is this whole other thing. Then you got Staten Island, which is this whole other thing. And all this is happening all at the same time.
Right.
And we all don't really know it. And that's how dope it is, bro. That's how organic it was. Like, all this shit was happening at the same time, and we didn't really know it because we so busy living in our own little bubble.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But you got kids like me and like my man James from uptown who used to go everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's how the message got out. Because I think I told you the other day, wherever I go, I take hip-hop culture with me.
Right.
And I've always been like that. Because hip-hop culture is just who I am.
Right.
And I think hip-hop culture is who all of us are in a nutshell. Like, that's just who we are. And that's why we gravitate to this thing like that, because it's just a part of who we are naturally, organically. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, the real culture of hip-hop. That's who we are as people. Right.
Because
I think that's how.
No, I was going to agree with what you're saying because we were talking, before. I said, like, even for myself, I mean, I'm not that far back, but like in '82, for example, around that time, I'm already like 10 years old. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like something that somebody says, "Oh, here, look at this. This is what this is." It's just like you just kind of went outside. It's what was going on and what was happening, and if you gravitated to it, it just became part of your everyday normal. You know what I mean? It was like normal. You go to school. Kids from different areas are in that same school, so you're seeing different style of things. There was kids from Brooklyn that were wearing things a certain way. That kids
I was about to say that.
Wearing things different. At that time you could tell. I forgot what I was talking to somebody recently, and I was like, back then you could tell almost like somebody that was from Brooklyn compared to somebody from uptown.
Absolutely.
Right? Because they, even somebody from Queens wore their stuff different. So there was a lot of different little elements that it was just like a natural thing.
That's
that
right.
like later on you kind of look back and think about it, but at the time it was just normal. It was just something.
That's crazy that you say that, because I had when I was in high school, right? I had three dudes that I was real close to in high school. Two of them was from Brooklyn and one of them was from Queens, and you could tell that the two Brooklyn dudes was both from Brooklyn. One of them was a smooth guy. He was smooth. He wasn't like what Brooklyn is known for. Like Brooklyn known for being hardcore. Like Brooklyn be fucking shit up, right?
Right.
They go and terrorize and shit, right? But my man Julius was real smooth. He had the waves in his hair. He, the ladies liked him. He had nice skin. And he, pretty boy, right? Mm-hmm. Dressed with the cardigan sweaters, nice shirt, and whatever. Then I had my man Ant from Brooklyn too. He was the thug. But the way he dressed, he used to wear a Kango, not the Kango, not the Kango cap. He used to wear the bucket Kango.
The LL ones.
Right, thank you. But he used to wear it broken down, like he used to do it like this, like he have the point in the middle like this, and on the sides like this, and then the back. Yeah. So straight Brooklyn dude, man.
Crunch it up. Crunch it up, and then
and it had creases on every crease in the front, crease in the back, crease in the side, right? And then he wore Pumas. That's all he wore was Pumas with the fat laces in them, right? And he used to wear like these, what they call I forget what they call, but there was these pants that they were like kind of bell bottom pants. But on the side, they had like a thing that goes all the way down the side. It's like a little crease that goes down the side of your pants. Okay. And there was a name for them joints too. I forget what they was called. But
I'm not sure.
So again, like the culture, the style, you know what I'm saying? Like you could look at a dude and tell he was from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
You could look at another dude and tell he was from Queens, because he would wear the Kango too, but the way he wore it. My man Marquine from Queens, he's from Queens Bridge, matter of fact. Marquine is another hustler, another one of my OGs, right? He took me to meet Marley Marl back in the day. This is high school, early 80s, right? Marquine would dress kind of similar to my man Ant from Brooklyn, because he used to wear Kangos and Pumas too. But he would wear the Kango cap, not the bucket, but the cap.
Yeah.
And he used to wear a pin, like how ladies wear a hat pin, like they'll pin a hat on their hair or something.
The head, yeah.
But he would wear like a decorative pin in the corner of his Kango like that, some Queens shit. You know what I'm saying? Like all the dudes from Queens used to do that back in the day. So like a cultural thing, man. The culture is deep, bro.
Yeah. So let me ask you, you're carrying crates. You're seeing things like up front early on when it comes to the music.
Yep.
Is there anything going through your mind at the time as far as like, man, I want to try, I like this DJing stuff, I want to do that, or, MC, like, I want to try rhyming. You see Spoonie G, you see Kumo D, Dougie Fresh, like.
I did. I actually DJed for a little bit. Yeah, I actually DJed for a little bit, and I was quite good too for a minute. I DJed in my own crew. We had a crew on my block called the Flame Disco Crew, believe it or not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that back then that was okay.
Yeah, thank you. Because it was still, like I said, it's still kind of like disco-ish back then.
Yeah.
And we didn't have like hip hop. We didn't have no names. We just had crew. Right. So we had to and we had the T-shirts with our name, the Flame Disco Crew on it, our names on the back. You know what I'm saying? DJ Rob Shock was my name.
Rob Shock, okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
And then eventually I went into high school. And once I got into high school, I really got into DJing. I started DJing I started battling against crews back then. I was down with a couple of crews. One was called the Sir Gamble crew down on the Lower East Side.
Okay.
And we was pretty big, man. We had big monster speakers. We built our own equipment and everything. You know what I'm saying? So we had some battles against like some big names that that you might have heard of before. And then I was down with the LES crew downtown because I went to school downtown. I went to Lower East Side High School, Lower East Side Prep High School. So again, like traveling, you know what I'm saying, from Harlem and going downtown, meeting new people, and just becoming a part of everything that was going on. You know what I'm saying? I went down there and met these dudes. They had their crew. I'm like, yo, I'm a DJ. You know what I'm saying? I want to get down. So that's what happened.
You know Giant?
I can't say that name rings a bell, but I might.
From the Bartenders?
I might. I know who the bartenders are.
Yeah. He's the one that started it. I forget what his actual name is, but he's LES and all of that too.
Yeah.
He had his crew. Yeah. He had his crew down there as well. So
I graduated from Lower East Side Prep in '78. So I'm around that time.
Yeah. Okay.
That's when I was stopping around on the Lower East Side.
What are some of the names? Some of these DJs that you were battling.
We battled Disco King Mario. We battled Grand Wizard Theodore.
Hold on.
Say that.
Stop.
Yep.
Okay. You have to talk a little bit about Disco King Mario if you can.
Okay.
That's a person's name that I hear come up, every so often when they're talking about early, DJs and hip hop. Man, I've never really had the pleasure of sitting down or talking with somebody that like had any type of crossings with him. You know what I mean? Other than what I hear. So, anything you could talk about him?
Not really. I don't really have any personal stories about Mario. I do know that I've been to mad Mario parties before.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Anything like just
I mean, he was the crowd rocker, bro. Like he was one of the originators. You know what I'm saying? He's one of the guys that got me like involved in hip hop as far as how he would perform, how he did his thing. Back then DJs would DJ and rock the mic too. Some of them did, and I believe he was one of those guys. Like and not for nothing, he's like one of the originators. So. Can you remember like his style more or less, like of as far as when he was playing at a party? You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Do you remember more or less just?
I can't really. I would just say I remember his system being like one of the biggest ever.
Big system, okay.
Yes, because that was a big thing too back then. More
Systems,
so than like having. Let me not misquote myself. I mean, everybody kind of had their own style. But a big part of your identity was how big and loud and clear your system was.
Right. Yeah. Which is why, like Herc, for example, with his system, which I heard that he actually got from somebody else, though, but then he became kind of known for.
Well, that could be because part of what we used to do back then was mix and match. Like we used to like trade off equipment too. Like if this dude had speakers, but he didn't have the amp to push those speakers, then somebody would let them borrow the amp. And we used to trade, equipment like that too. So somebody didn't have an echo chamber, you know what I'm saying? And this guy had a dope system. So if you wanted to get down with his system, if you wanted to use something of his, let him use your echo chamber. So it was like kind of a bartering system too back then.
So now when you're saying as far as battling these guys, is it more in that fashion as far as like who had the better system, who's playing?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Who could blow the other person out? And like it had to be loud and clear. You couldn't just have a big, loud, stupid system. It had to be clear too. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. So can you describe like what? So you have one side, there's some DJ with their sound system, other side somebody with theirs. So how does that take place? Like how you go first?
It depends. Some people did a coin toss, I would think. Some people, depending on whose neighborhood it was, like if you came to my territory, so we might have bragging rights, or we might, because we had bragging rights, we might let you go first. You know what I'm saying? It just depends. And let's see, a lot of it was the sound system and something else too. I wanted to say, but yeah, that's pretty much what it was.
Sound system.
Yeah.
I mean, excuse me for asking. I just that's a part that, me personally, I never saw. I never experienced that. You know what
That's
I mean?
the part
So,
that's missing in hip hop, man.
when you hear, now when you hear about DJ battles, you know what I mean? You thinking
Right.
the turntablism, this and that or whatever. For example,
That came later.
Right.
came later.
That's what I
Right.
mean. That's more like from what I,
Yeah.
seen, and at least I've been able to see personally. So that's why I'm asking, because it's it's interesting, man. Like just the evolution. You know
Yep.
what I mean, and how things work.
Yep.
So I cut you off because you mentioned Disco King Mario. Then I think you were about to say Theodore.
Yeah.
Right.
A bunch of them dudes, man. Grand Wizard Theodore, the L Brothers, Breakout and Baron.
Okay.
You name it. DJ AJ, Cool DJ. As a matter of fact, you know Cool DJ AJ?
From Curtis Blow and it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You asked me something earlier about a personal hip hop story that I personally battled AJ in Harlem World one time.
Yeah. Okay. Wait. Hold on. Let's do this right.
He taught me the pieces, but
Yeah. Wait. Let's do this right then.
Yeah.
Do me a favor, man. If you could give me a true hip hop feeling moment for you, man, which would it be?
There's a bunch of them, but that's definitely one of them. I'll give you that one first since I started that. One time, and let me think, it had to be, I think I just graduated from high school. This had to be like 78, 79 somewhere. And are you familiar with the world famous club Harlem World?
Yeah.
All right. They had
Never been there, but I know. Yeah.
Right. They had just opened up Harlem World. Harlem World is on 116th Street and Lenox Avenue, across from the Muslim Temple over there, right across the street.
Mm-hmm.
Come up out the train station on 116th Street, the number 2 train, and you come upstairs and Harlem World is right there, right? And a couple of weeks after they opened up, they didn't really have a lot of traction when they first opened up, because I don't think hip hop wasn't really that popular yet. You know what I'm saying? But somebody had the vision to open up this club, Harlem World. So when they first opened up, they had I think they were looking for a DJ, like a house DJ or something like that.
Okay.
So they hosted like a battle. So you come in, if you want a DJ, then you can come in, you battle against this guy, and we pick the winner, and that's going to be who the DJ was. And one night I battled AJ, and he ended up winning, but that was an honor, bro. Like, I love that dude, man. You know, so I used to go to all his parties. I used to watch him, listen to him. And I was nervous like crazy that night, but it was just such an honor to be there and be around him and see how he worked and talk to him. And he was so humble and nice, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I used to see him in the neighborhood a lot too after that.
Okay. But what led up to why the battle?
I just said because Harlem World, when they first opened up, they was looking for a DJ.
So that's how they
like
were
a house
trying to
DJ.
figure it out. Okay.
So, right. So the way that they was
I got you.
going to get their house DJ, they announced that they was going to have an open battle. So
right.
whoever won the battle, that was
Gotcha.
the prize for winning the battle.
Oh, shit.
Word.
And you battling AJ.
Yeah,
So now,
man.
is AJ at that point? I mean, I know you say he was going to parties and everything that he threw, but is this trying to remember my dates, man? But is he already rocking with?
Yeah, he was the
right?
man.
Because this is Curtis Blow first came out was 70
something.
Man, what was that? 70?
Yeah, it was before that. I think. Yeah, somewhere around there.
Something like that, right?
Matter of fact, I think AJ's record had just came out when we had that battle. You said it. I think it came out in 78.
Something like that, right? Yeah. Holy crap, man! So you're you're almost like a lot of people sometimes take that title of the Forrest Gump of hip hop. But
this is an exclusive, bro. Like I'm saying, there's a lot of things. I've seen
might,
a lot of things that I've never had a chance to tell nobody.
You might have that title, man.
I got more, yeah.
Yeah. So wait a minute. Now you said AJ kind of won that battle. Did he become? Do you remember who became the house DJ?
Him.
He did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So now after that, you're attending Harlem World on nights that they have.
Sometime. Yeah.
Sometime.
But again, because I was going everywhere. At this time, I'm in high school now, so now I'm going to Philly. I'm going to Jersey. I'm going out of state. I'm moving around, bro. I always been a move around type of dude.
Now, when you go into places like Philly, you know, we know Philly had very early hits. You know, some people say even Graf might have
Yeah.
started, you know, first person might have came out of Philly, from what I understand. But when you're traveling, like let's say to Philly, are you finding the scene out there?
Yeah,
Like,
for
you
the
know,
most part.
you got to get Cash Money.
Yeah, for
Familiar,
the most
you know, the DJ Cash Money.
Not really like that, but it's more like local stuff. Like when I was going to Philly at this point, I was going to visit like people that I knew personally, or like maybe family members or something. And so like now I'm just being introduced to that local hip hop scene. I'm not going there because I'm going to a show or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long did you deal with as far as being a DJ, you know, and having an interest in DJing? How long did that last?
Oh man, to this day.
Or are you
like,
still? Yeah, yeah. Okay.
I mean, I don't really have DJ equipment per se. I got a mixer over here, you know, and
Yeah.
I do have a turntable for sampling and stuff like that. But I mean, that's how my love of production actually started, from DJing, you know.
Okay. What
Yeah.
exactly? How did the transition from DJing to producing happen? But like, what? I'm always curious. Like,
that's a good question.
A lot of producers that I've spoken to kind of had a similar story as far as starting off DJing, and then they make the transition over to producing. But like, what is it about the DJing part that makes you want to do that?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know if it's something I've really thought about before, but now that I'm thinking about it, I would say that first of all, my love of DJing comes from my love of music. Period.
Okay. Right.
Like I told you earlier, I grew up in a time where musicality was everything. I grew up with Marvin Gaye and Stevie Wonder and Barry White and like, you know, the Love Unlimited Orchestra and the Sound of Philadelphia. You know, you familiar with Gamble and Huff from Philly? Okay.
Yeah.
So I grew up with a lot of like the production that I grew up with was like a real instrumentation,
Musical production. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? So a lot of strings, which is kind of what my sub moniker is. I consider myself the king of strings because all of my production got some kind of strings in it. My production is very cinematic and like orchestral, I guess is the word, right?
Orchestrate. Okay.
Yeah, I use a lot of strings and pianos and those kind of sounds in my production. I started DJing because I guess that was my way of expressing the musicality that I felt inside of me. You know what I'm saying? Like all these records that I love, now I had an opportunity to play them and then once I found break beats, it was a wrap. You know what I'm saying? Then I could cut, and I wasn't ever really like the transforming type of DJ and all that, and scratching and all that. But I was good at cutting on time, making beats on time. Yes, sir. I was nice at that.
Okay.
I'll keep the party rocking for like 10 hours straight without the beat. Without missing the beat.
Right. So now discovering the break beats, right? Do you think that has something to do with starting that interest and getting into the production?
Definitely.
Playing around, like listening and hearing the different beats and the breakdowns and all of that?
Definitely. That was always a love of mine, like from the early days of going to parties and hearing, them playing the break beats at the parties. But I'll tell you exactly how I got into music production itself. My brother-in-law, rest in peace, T-Bird Fresh, right? T-Bird Fresh is not only my brother-in-law, but he was my best friend. I was married to his sister.
Okay.
Rest in peace, T-Bird. T-Bird passed away in a car accident a few years ago, so we lost my brother-in-law. But he's the one who got me. Yeah, good dude, man. And anybody that knows Bird knows how much of a good dude he was, how influential he was. But he's the one who got me into production because Bird, and this is kind of ironic. This is super ironic. Bird is from Staten Island, right?
Okay.
He's from New York too, and so it's going to take me a minute to get to where I'm going. at some point I married his sister, right, when I was a young man, right? And then we married, and then I left New York. We left New York and moved to a different state to raise our children in another state, right? A couple of years later, Bird gets a little older, and he leaves New York, and then he moves to where we live at, right? Just to kind of get away from the city life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bird is a straight hip-hop dude. This dude is hip-hop, right? So, like me, wherever he goes, he bring the culture with him. But when he came to where we live, Bird had a record playing on the radio, right?
Okay.
It's a lot. It's
all right. It's all right.
He had Red Alert was spinning one of his records crazy on the radio back then. This had to be like 84, 85 maybe.
What song you talking about?
The song is called "Rhymes Different from the Others." You can look it up. It's by Rhymes That's Different from the Others.
That's the name of it,
Rhymes Different from the Others.
Okay.
They had 2 songs. He was on the compilation record that year, right? They had 2 songs. Red Alert was playing Rhymes Different from the Others on the radio, and they had another joint called Let the System Thump.
Okay.
It was on the compilation record, right? And what's ironic about this, and I'm gonna get to how I got into production, but I gotta say this first. What's ironic about this is my man Kool Kim from the UMCs was on that album too. It was a compilation. Yes, it was a compilation record that came out in like '84 somewhere, '85 somewhere around there, called the Rough House Orchestra compilation. Rough House Orchestra compilation.
Okay.
Kool Kim and Hassan was on there, and my brother-in-law T-Bird Fresh and his partner was on there too.
Okay.
Right? Okay. So this is 84-ish, right? So when they came out with that record, now Bird's moving around, he's on tour doing it, whatever, promoting the album, whatever. So then something happened, I don't know what, but something happened where he had to leave the city, and he came to me, right? Came to stay with me. He brings hip hop with him. So now he meets some guys locally in the town where I live, right? And mind you, I've been living there for all these years. Now this dude moving my neighborhood. Now he know more people than me. You know what I'm saying? Right? And so now he's producing, like he's making rappers in my neighborhood. Like he's discovering these dudes and telling them like, yo, you got talent, you can rap. Let's go in the studio and I'm gonna make this beat and I'm gonna write these rhymes. I don't know if he wrote their rhymes, I can't say that. But I'm gonna make the beat and I'm gonna show you the cadence, I'm gonna show you how to do it, whatever. And then you get on, I'm gonna produce, you rap, and then we're gonna have our crew. Right? Yeah. Then he brings me in. Now he got 2 dudes in one group. He got 3 dudes in another group. So we got these 2 groups. Then he come to me because I'm like his OG. I'm the guy. I got a job. I'm working. I do this. I'm moving around here and there. He's like, yo, what you think about managing these groups for me? Like, you help us. Like, I'm gonna put the music together. You make sure book the studio time for us. You do this. You do that. You take care of the business. Make the phone calls, right? Basically, right? Get us shows and shit like that, right? I'm like, bet. So now I'm walking around, young man with a briefcase, managing these groups. I don't know what I'm doing, bro. You know what I'm saying? But we kind of getting big in our little town. Like we making noise. You know what I'm saying? Right. So one day, now here's the answer to your question. One day, Bird comes to my house. Now, mind you, I'm DJing still at this time. Not actively, but I got big-ass speakers in my crib. I got a room full of crates of records all over the place, right? So Bird comes to my crib. He's like, yo, let me borrow a couple of your records. And I'm like, for what? And he's like, I'll show you. So I'll give him the records. The next day or two, he comes back with a cassette tape with my man rapping on it with the break beat from the record that I let him borrow in the beat. I'm like, how you do that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This is like, I want to say this is 85 maybe, somewhere around there, 86 maybe.
Okay.
Late 80s now. I'm like, yo, how you do that? He said, I'll show you. Then he took me to the studio. Once he took me to the studio, bro, it was a wrap.
That was it.
It was a wrap. I've been hooked ever since. I first started out as a studio engineer, right? That was my first thing. And then from doing that, I, from working with other people, that's how I learned how to like really make beats and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you're saying studio engineer. Was this something that you were self-taught or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't want to, pump myself up like that. I was never really an engineer, so to speak, but I was the guy running shit in there. I was pressing all the buttons and, sliding all the faders and, do this, make it sound like that. And I was that guy, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, that's come on now. I mean, especially self-taught and everything.
Yeah.
So
everything self-taught. Yeah.
What everything?
Yeah.
Even the even
everything.
making the beats.
Everything.
Now was Bert? You mentioned someone that took you to meet Marley Marl at a certain point.
Yeah. My man
That
Marquine.
was Marquine. Now
Yeah.
wait, when so that happened before your interest in making beats?
Yeah, that happened when I was in high school. When I met Marley Marl was back in like in the 70s still. It was like 78, somewhere around there. When I started making beats, it was already in the 80s, I think.
In the 80s, right,
Yeah.
right. So when you meet Marley Marl though, what point is that as far as Marley Marl?
It was nothing really. I mean, I just met him. Like my man knew that I was into DJing and stuff. My man Marquine, right?
Yeah.
So, and he was a hustler. Like, he used to sell weed and shit like that. And he was older than me, right? But his little brother, I think his brother's name was Sean, if I'm not mistaken. His little brother was into hip hop and rap and shit like that. And his brother was like my age. So one day, Marquine, we used to be cool, man. He was like my OG. He used to come and look out for me in school, make sure I had money, make sure I ate and stuff like that. And he was like, yo, you want to hang out? You want to come to my crib with me? And I was like, yeah, hell yeah. So we went. He took me to Queensbridge to meet his little brother. And his little brother had a crew. Like, and so they had, when we went to the crib, they was in there like rapping and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And Marley Marl was there.
Wow. So now, do you make the connection later on that the Marley Marl, that's Marley Marl, was the same dude that
It took me a long time to make that connection, bro.
Really?
Yeah. It like dawned on me one day that who he was. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What did you? That must have kind of tripped you out a little bit. Like, damn, I met this dude.
It kind of did, but again, I had those experiences a lot coming up, man. I met a lot of people, man, that ended up being like legends in this thing.
Yeah.
So at the time, it wasn't really nothing. I was more excited about meeting my man's little brother. You know what I'm saying? Because no disrespect to Marley, but I didn't know him. He wasn't Marley Marl yet. Like,
No, of course.
You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
So I was more like intrigued by like going to meet other like rappers and people that was into the culture like I was into.
Right. So talk a little bit about now your interest in making beats. You know what I mean? You're self-taught.
Yeah.
So what was that process like as far as how did you get to a point where you felt like, okay, I think I got this, to even let somebody hear something that you did?
That's a long road, bro. I mean, it really was, because you know what? Honestly, I always felt like I had it. It was more like me catching up to the technology to make it happen. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like learning the software and having access to the right tools to be able to reproduce what I felt in my soul and heard in my head. So that was really it. So very early on, there's this program. Let me think about this for a second, because I've been through a lot of iterations of different like software and hardware configurations and different ways to make beats. I want to say that my first beat making experience was on an old Atari ST 1040 computer.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's what it was. I had like a standalone rolling rack mount sampler, the S550 I think it was, sampler. And it didn't have a screen or nothing on it. It was just like a black rack mount sampler, you know what I'm saying? It had like mad sampling time in it, though, like 30 seconds or some shit like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But in order for me to use the sampler, I had to buy a computer that had the screen so I could see the screen, so I could see what the sampler was doing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that was that. That was my first like real beat making experience. And I forget what software I was. Maybe Cakewalk or something like that. I forget what the software was, but whatever ran on that Atari computer. And then
that's crazy.
and then I went from that to. Oh nah, hold on. My first beat making experience, bro.
So the pause tapes.
Thank you. That's exactly what. And I was nice at that too. That's how I knew I could be a producer.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my first beat making experience, was making pause tapes. I was the pause tape king in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
Straight up. People used to come to me and pay me money to make pause tapes.
Nice,
so that was
nice.
that. Yes, and this is in the 70s now. So go figure that shit. And at this time, I used to make pause tapes and put my speaker in the window and play my pause tapes and let everybody know I got a new tape. That's how everybody knew I had a new tape out. Yes, sir.
Nice. Nice. Now, I always ask this question. Every time somebody tells me that they, did the pause tape thing, that was something that came to you on your own, right? Or did somebody show you, like, hey, you
well, yeah, I think somebody did show me, but you still had to be nice at that shit, and you had to have the right equipment. Like, not anybody could have, a tape deck, but not every tape deck could make the pause tapes properly.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because some of them didn't pause right on the beat. Like, you press the pause button, it didn't pause right away.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So I had, regular two, cassette deck piece, that was like my father's or whatever.
Yep.
And the funny thing is that you mentioned AJ before. So when the song, when Curtis Blow came out with that song, I guess it was AJ, right? The name of the song, right?
AJ.
So I don't know if you remember. So you remember? I mean, I know you remember. You remember in that song, he had like different parts. Like there would be one part that would come on that would be. It used to be like. I guess it was like AJ's part, right? And it would be like clap, 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 clap. And then there was like another part that said something else or what. I can't remember everything, but I used to like those parts so much, and that's how I took one side and I had a blank tape here. And I recorded, the 4 parts, so I didn't have to hear the whole song.
Right. Put them together.
And put them together. And you remember the deck? It had like a little counter, like with 3 numbers. Yeah. And it had like the little black button you would push for it to go to 0.
Yeah.
That's how I would watch to see like at what number it would start.
I think I did that too.
And then that's when I would know to, you know what I mean? And then. Yeah. But nobody showed me how to do that. It was just like
that's hood shit. That's how you. That's like that's what happens when you take the instruments out of the school. We figure it out. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. I don't know, man. I still find that like one of the coolest things when I hear people say that they were doing that without somebody necessarily showing them like, hey, you could do this. Yeah. It's just out of like, I don't know, man. Out of your creativity or whatever.
That's right.
It's the same way like how I would have a tape deck, a cassette, on record and pause to try to catch a song that I wanted to hear. You know what I mean? Because I didn't have any way of having it. So like if Kiss played it, for example, I used to try to catch it. And sometimes I would like turn the dial and it'd be like halfway through, and I would record it anyway because I was like, at least I got that part.
Yeah.
Man, I used to love those times. I had man. I wish I have a cassette that I still have here from 1985. That was a blank cassette that I just used to use to record stuff off the radio.
Mm-hmm.
And I have the Fat Boys when they were up on WBLS.
That's another moment I got for you too. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah. No, I'll let you go. I'm sorry, man.
No, go ahead.
You got me thinking. But I have the Fat Boys. So WBLS, they used to bring artists up there sometimes, and then they would let them kind of rock a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I got the Fat Boys, man, on this cassette with Buff, doing the beatbox and scratching at the same time.
Wow,
D and yeah.
Buff was scratching and doing the beatbox at the
Buff
same
used
time.
To like, yeah. You could hear.
I don't remember him scratching.
I'm gonna. I got it, bro.
Oh man,
I'm gonna send it to you.
That's
you got
dope.
Prince Marky D and Kool Roski are doing like their little rhymes or whatever, and Buff is beatboxing, and you hear the scratching going.
That's crazy. Them dudes was nice, man.
Yeah.
I was going.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, no, I was just going to interject. When you brought up the Fat Boys, I was there the day they got their record deal. Me and my daughter was there that day. Yes, sir. They got a deal at Radio City Music Hall. I was there that day.
This is when they still were the Disco 3 then.
The Disco 3. That's when they got their record deal.
Yeah, and you were
That's
there?
when they became the Fat Boys. Yeah, I was there that day.
Why? Why? What were you
I forget what the occasion was, but shit, that had to be. Let's see, my daughter was probably 2 years old then. She was born in '82, so this had to be like '84 or '85, somewhere around there, right?
Yeah. It had to be.
And for some reason, they had an event at Radio City Music Hall that they was broadcasting on the radio. I think that's how I found out about it. And I went, and it happened to be, it was mad people there, bro. It was the Fat Boys, or the Disco 3, right? Mm-hmm. Houdini, I think Houdini got their record deal that day, too. What's the group? My man Jalil, that's another story I got from you. Shout out to my man Jalil from Houdini. That's my man from Brooklyn, yeah. That's another one of my homies from Brooklyn. And Jalil's little brother was in a group with the Kango Kid. What's the name of that group?
The Get Fresh crew?
No, the Kango Kid from Brooklyn. They did the song Roxanne.
Oh, UTFO.
Thank you. Yeah, Kango Kid. Yeah, that's
My bad.
the
I'm
dude.
thinking Kango crew. Yeah.
Yeah, my bad too. I couldn't think of their name.
Yeah. No, UTFO. Yeah. Kango Kid and Doc Ice and
Doc Ice. That's Jalil's little brother.
Mm-hmm.
And
oh shit! Did I know that? I don't know.
Yeah, that's his little brother.
Makes sense though.
Yeah, so Fat Boys or Disco 3 got their deal that day. Houdini got their deal that day. UTFO got their deal that day. And somebody else. It was like 5 people that got signed that day.
What? And you were there?
And I was there. Me and my daughter, my little 2-year-old daughter was there.
Damn, UTFO, Houdini, and the Fat Boys. Those are like three of my favorite. Top 3 of my favorite groups. I love the Fat Boys, man. I always love
me
them.
too. Yeah.
I always love the Fat Boys. And Houdini.
Prince Marky D is nice on the beats.
On the beats, yeah. I found out way later that a lot of stuff that I was hearing, that he produced and stuff like that, and I was like, whoa. He did some stuff for Mary, I believe, as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a big loss, man. But Houdini,
rest in peace.
One of my top groups. You know what I mean? When 5 Minutes of Funk came out, man, that was like a moment for me, bro.
Yeah.
I was 5 minutes. There was like those certain songs that came out that was like to me it was like 5 Minutes of Funk. You had like Sucker MCs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There was like those songs that La Di Dottie. You know what I mean? That like, man.
I got a chance to hang out with. Remember they did the Fresh Fest back in the day.
Yeah.
When they first, that's the first hip hop tour that ever was, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
I remember when they came to Providence, right? And Houdini was on that tour, and Run DMC and the Fat Boys, and I think they had some East Coast groups. They had Oaktown 357.
Okay. Yeah.
A couple of people was there that time. I think EPMD might have been there, if I'm not mistaken.
EPMD, that's another one of my favorite duos, man.
But yeah, another moment for me was I happened to be sitting in the balcony at the Fresh Fest, and my man Jalil looked up and seen me in the crowd and called me out in front of everybody. It was like 15,000 people in there. He called me out, and then after the show, I got a chance to hang out with them. And Jermaine Dupri was there too. He was a little kid. That's when he was dancing for them.
Dancing.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I always wondered how that came to be.
What's
like
that?
How did Jermaine Dupri? I don't know if I've ever really heard the story of how he became.
His pops is a record exec.
Yeah, but I mean, but how did he become the dancer for Houdini? You know what I mean? Like, I just always wondered how that happened.
Yeah, good question. I mean,
I don't know. I've never really heard that story. I don't know.
I think I've seen that story somewhere before, but I can't recall it on the top of my head.
Because it's funny, like to you fast forward and know Jermaine for Jermaine Dupri, but then you go back and see, like, wait, that was Jermaine Dupri back then. Like, it's like he has the same face, but just a little younger version.
Who else was there? The dudes from the West Coast, that the Pop Lockers. Remember they was in that movie. What was the dude's name? Electric Boogaloo.
Boogaloo Shrimp and
Boogaloo Shrimp and the other dude.
Turbo.
Yeah,
Well,
Turbo.
those
Yeah.
were the two from the movie. Well, I mean, they were in the movie Breaking,
Right. They was at that
but they
concert
actually,
as well. Yeah, I met them
yeah,
that
yeah,
night
yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, damn,
Yeah.
bro.
I got a ton of moments like that, bro. I could go on and on and on and on.
Yeah, I know. We get caught up in talking about him.
Yeah,
But let's
straight up.
let's talk a little bit more now about you as far as your production, man. And
Yeah.
tell me a little bit. Let's kind of fast forward to get to a point to where you're doing, you're messing around with beats and doing production.
Yeah.
When's the first time that you either have somebody rhyming on one of your beats or let people know that you're even doing it? Let's take it to that
That's a
point.
good question. That is a great question. I think, okay, so from the time that I actually started making beats had to be around 80, let me think about that. Like in the late 80s, 88, 80, wait. No, I want to say this, when I first started making beats had to be like in the 90s, like 92, around there somewhere, right?
Okay.
So from then to the time someone actually rapped on a beat that I made had to be maybe 5 years later or so.
Okay.
Because again, I wasn't really a producer like that. I was more behind the scenes. I was more like like engineering other people's stuff. I wasn't really like producing my own stuff per se. I was kind of dipping and dabbing with making beats, just because I needed to know how to do that in order to be able to do my job effectively, right?
Okay.
And because I like making beats too, but I wasn't like, I had a lot of other shit going on. I was working a full-time job. I had a family and all this kind of stuff. So I wasn't really focused on making the beats like that at that time. So maybe 5 years after me making, learning how to make the beats, I want to say I was in Atlanta, and I ran into an artist down in Atlanta, and that was the first time I had somebody rap on one of my joints.
But how did that, like, you found him, he found you? How did that
Good
connect?
question. Okay, I actually had moved to Atlanta at that point, right? And somehow, somebody found out that I made beats, that like I had equipment and shit. I don't know how this happened, but one day somebody knocked on my door. Went to the door. There's 5 dudes standing at my door. Yo, your name is so and so. I'm like, yeah. We heard you make beats. I'm like, how'd you hear that? You know what I'm saying? Like, who is y'all? But it was cool, like, and we ended up being great friends to this day. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man DJ Kurt. DJ Kurt is the sound guy for the group Cameo. He's their sound engineer. So that's how.
Wait, Cameo?
Yeah, word
Get
up.
out of
Yeah, DJ Kurt. That's their sound man.
Okay.
And that's my great friend. That's my brother. So him and his crew came to my house. And then, I started making beats for them. That's how that happened. And then
Now,
that.
what were they, like, when you were making beats for them, what were they doing at that particular time, though? Was it like, what
it was
kind of music?
just hood shit, like like street stuff. And like I had like kind of a unique style because I'm from up top, right? I'm from the north, right? Mm-hmm. And now I'm in the A with this sound that I'm also trying to incorporate into like what they trying to do down there too. Mm-hmm. So I'm almost on some boom bap kind of southern boom bap-ish kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like some boom trap almost.
Right.
Like straight up. And this is like 90. This is early on, like 98. I want to say somewhere around there.
Okay.
So that's kind of how that transpired. So through that, and my man Kurt, that I just mentioned to you, DJ Kurt, at the time, he used to be on a college radio. He used to DJ on a college radio station with Shaka Zulu. Shaka Zulu ended up becoming Ludacris's manager.
Ludacris, right.
Right. So that's kind of how that transpired. I went from making beats for my crew in the A to Kurt hooking me up with a situation where some label heard some of my beats or whatever, and the dude from the label approached me and paid me some money to do a track called The Rockin' Chair for some artist I can't recall the name of.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was the beginning of people starting to rap on my stuff.
Okay, so
And
now how?
mhm.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so once you're in that kind of atmosphere now, is that making you want to pursue this even more, or like take it even more seriously, or were
It
you always just
does.
kind of like
It does,
whatever?
but my first
Yeah,
priority always was my family, man. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like during this whole time, from the time like I got married young. I got married when I was 19, I think.
Wow. Okay.
So fresh out of high school. So mind you, like when I'm in high school, hip hop is booming,
Hmm.
right? As soon as I graduated from high school, my focus shifted from that to my family.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So get married at 19, and then I immediately left New York for to raise my family, and so
Yeah.
that was my focus the whole time. Hip hop and all that. The music has always been my love, but I have responsibilities too. So
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
yeah.
Right. 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 Right.
So
All right.
mhm.
So did it anything else develop out of that situation at some point, or
A couple of things kind of, not really. A couple of things kind of, like I ended up meeting Eric Sherman when I was down there.
because he
Cause
was down,
yeah, he had the rim
set up
shop
shop
on
down
P
there.
Street.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, I met
Right.
him. I think I might have showed him a couple of my early beats, but he was moving too. Like you know what I'm saying, he was trying to still get his own self set up. Um, I met a couple of like the Def Squad people
Hmm.
at the shop down there. Um, I met my man Easy Lee from Cool Mo D's DJ Easy Lee.
Okay. Down
He's
there.
down there too. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I don't know if he's still there, but yep, he was down there at that point. And he was doing like A&R stuff, like discovering talent and stuff like that. But again, I'm working, so
Yeah.
we missing each other, and like you know what I'm saying. I got to work all day and then come home, and my schedule was crazy, and they didn't have cell phones at the time, so it ain't like I could just pick up the celly and call them, stuff like that. So
So did you not think that there was a possibility, for example, for you to make a living
I
comfortably
thought
to
so.
be
I
able
just never really. I thought so. I just never really saw personally how I could do it. Like
how to do
you
it,
know,
like how to do
yeah,
it, how to make it happen, but not miss a beat as far as being able to provide for your family.
exactly. Like I didn't
Yeah.
have time to go to the labels and do all the A&R work and the leg work and
Hmm.
sending the beats off and following up and making the phone calls and meeting people and stuff. Like because I just didn't have the time to do
Hmm.
it.
Hmm.
I had time to make the beats, and the beats was kind of dope, but I didn't have the business side behind me. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah,
have a
yeah,
partner or someone to do the running for me or something like that.
right, 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 right.
And
So you,
that's been the case like my whole time, bro. Like
yeah,
I've been making beats forever, but a lot of the reason why nobody here knows who I am is because of that. And there's a lot of other reasons too. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
mostly it.
So
'Cause
you always
I'm
I'm sorry, you always continue making beats regardless of what the situation was because you loved it.
yeah.
But it was just hard as far as being noticed and shopping things around because it's just you by yourself.
And not only that too, not to cut you off, but to piggyback on what we're talking about. I don't just make beats. I do all kinds of multimedia stuff. Like I produce. I'm a
Yeah, I was gonna
producer.
ask. Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
a
yeah,
producer. Like so, I don't just make music. I don't just make beats. Like I produce music, right? For one,
yeah. I
I
wanted
do
to
make
ask you
beats.
if you considered yourself a producer, a beat maker, because I also saw you can do like TV, film.
Yeah,
So that's yeah, yeah,
no
yeah.
doubt. I am a beat maker, but I'm also a producer as
Producer.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have produced things for film and television and stuff
Mhm.
like that. So I produce documentaries and stuff like that. Yeah,
So a lot of those things come through just like connections because, like you said, you didn't really have like a manager or something like that. So
all those
I
things
would,
came through a lack of connections. I was forced to do all those things because I had to. You know what I'm saying? Because I ain't had nobody to help me. So I was forced into teaching myself how to edit, teaching
yeah,
myself how to edit video, teaching myself how to shoot video, teaching myself how to make beats and using all the equipment. Like all that stuff came because I had to do it. and
Right.
I was in love with it. You know what I'm saying? And just because, I had a family, it didn't mean that I was going to leave those things behind and not fulfill, my passion for doing those things. You know what I'm saying? I did it when I could, and if I can make money at it, cool. If not, I was cool with that too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
No, I get you.
And I think that's been part of the blessing because, being in that position this whole time kind of taught me a lot of stuff, and it kept me safe from a lot of things that some people in the industry weren't kept safe from. You know what I'm saying? Whereas if I had been susceptible to those things early on in my life, who knows how things might have turned out. So I'm eternally grateful for how
We
things worked out.
hear a lot of those type of stories, man. Unfortunately, too. Before we
Yes, sir.
move a little bit further as far as what you got going on now, can you talk a little bit about, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm trying to remember, was it Night Sessions?
Yeah, that's wow. You remembered that? Huh? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was trying to actually look, and I think I found something that I need to ask you because, well, okay, before I ask you that, can you talk a little bit about Night Sessions, how that came about, and what your involvement with Night Sessions was?
Night Sessions television. Okay, so first of all, Night Sessions, shout out to my guys, man. Shout out to Driz. Shout out to Jason, a.k.a. Remote. Shout out to my man Emu Gutter, and the rest of the Night Sessions crew. You know what I'm saying? Night Sessions television, that was like an underground kind of cultural hip-hop experience. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were one of the first ones that showcase hip-hop culture on public access television. You know what I'm saying? So I want to say like around 90 and the mid to late 90s, somewhere around there, a crew of guys from the Bronx came together and they started like documenting their own personal hip-hop experience. And then they took that down and started going into the clubs and started filming the clubs, and and then that went from just filming their own experience in the clubs to people seeing them in the clubs and wanting to do interviews with them. And so they took that, and then that morphed into taking those interviews and putting them on public access, and that gained them a lot of notoriety around New York because now they became known for for putting the culture on TV and making it accessible to everybody. Like, you didn't have to have, MTV to be able to watch hip hop culture, like real street culture. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And nobody was really doing it. I think maybe like in my estimation, I think the only other people in New York that was doing that at the time might have been maybe Choke No Joke. Shout out to Choke No Joke. Yeah.
Okay.
Because he was in the club. They had a crew too. I forget the name of their crew, but they was kind of doing something similar to what we was doing.
Okay.
They would be in the club with their camera and getting a little footage, and then they eventually start putting their stuff on public access too. You know what I'm saying? So that's how Night Sessions started, and then so it started with I want to say my man Drizzle D and Emu Gutter and a couple of other guys who I can't recall their names, but that was the inception of Night Sessions. Man, I can't. My man Chris. And a couple of other dudes whose names escape me at this point. But that's how Night Sessions actually started, right? So then fast forward a couple of more years, then my man Moo Gutter came around. Moo Gutter always been around, but then he started paying more attention from the music to the TV thing, right?
Okay.
And then I came around, then my man Jay came around. And so when we all formulated like that, when it became me, Driz, who was one of the originators, Emu, who was one of the originators, and Jason, when the four of us formulated, that's when we turned Night Sessions TV into a business. We became partners at that point in the business, right?
Okay.
Then we took it from just going to the clubs and interviewing people in the clubs and putting it on public access. Now we in like 40 different cities around the country. You know what I'm saying? Now we're not just in the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, and Manhattan no more. Now we in, on the West Coast. We down south. We up north in Boston and Rhode Island and Connecticut, and all on public access, all for free. All we got to do is make sure we hustle these tapes every week and get these tapes out to where they got to go. And now everybody across the country knows who we are now because of that hustle. You know what I'm saying?
When you saying tapes, you were making like
VHS tapes. We would go and film the interviews or whatever we was filming.
Yeah.
We would make a master copy on a VHS tape and send that tape to the local affiliate in whatever city that we was on in. Cincinnati or Providence or Las Vegas or wherever we had to send like fucking, excuse my language, we had to send like 50 tapes a week out or something like that. Not that many, but quite a few. Wherever we was on that week. Right.
Wow.
So that's how we got notoriety, doing that. And then we started getting calls from like the West Coast wanting to get interviews. Or starting to get calls from Trick Daddy wanting us to come to Florida to do an interview with them, or somewhere out in the Midwest wanting to, get Crucial Conflict or whoever, you know what I'm saying? KRS-One, shout out to KRS-One, that's my guy. So that's how that started. And then we went from being on public access to like hustling our own VHS tapes in the street. Now we coming out with series. This is for the projects was one of them. Caliente was another one. Night Sessions Caliente that featured Fat Joe and some other like Hispanic rappers, Latin rappers, I should say. We had for the projects Caliente. We had a bunch of them, and then that did well for a long time, bro. Like that got us a lot of notoriety. And then came the DVD era.
Right.
Why did we put why were we the first persons to interview 50 Cent and have his face anywhere in the world? Nobody ever knew what this guy looked like until we interviewed him.
Really?
So
how did that come about?
I'm not sure, but we there was 4 of us, so we all had different roles. Like some of us got interviews with this guy, some of us got interviews with D Block, some guys got this person, some guy held the camera one night, some guy did the actual interview. It just depended on, who was in position for what. But on that DVD, that was our first big DVD. That was called Nothing to Lose. That came out in 2003. Night Sessions, Nothing to Lose.
The one with 50 Cent, you mean?
It had 50 Cent on the cover. It had KRS-One. It had Cameron. It had Exhibit. It had my man from Feds Magazine.
Yeah.
And we had Feds Magazine and Don Diva Magazine.
Yeah. I have some of those magazines here still.
Right. Yeah. That was we had the very first Funk Master Flex car show.
Really?
The very first one. Yep.
Wow.
And they had a big competition back then. I think Wyclef won the competition. He won with a motorcycle back then. He had the Spider-Man motorcycle.
Yeah, that crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, he won with the motorcycle that year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, because there's a YouTube channel that's Night Sessions TV that I believe is what you're talking about.
That could be it.
Because
at some point.
There's a camera. I saw there's a KRS outside talking to Q-Tip, and they're discussing like some hip hop stuff.
Yeah, that was us.
Yeah. It's called Night Sessions TV.
Yeah, and that's not my official channel. I mean, I was gonna say at some point, Night Sessions, the company, broke up. Like we broke up and went our own separate ways. We're all still friends, and some of us still communicate with others or whatever. But the company broke up. There was some internal discrepancies. Like we got to a point where we got real big. And then some corporations started offering us money, and some wanted to take the money, and some didn't, and you know how that goes, bro.
Yeah.
So rather than just like get crazy, we all just decided to, take whatever money and assets that we had at that point and just keep it moving and just salvage our relationship. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Nah, that's usually how it happens too. Once the big corporations jump in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. So, again, but you always somehow, some way, you find yourself in the middle of something important that took place or takes place in hip hop. Yeah. Let's bring it up to speed. I wanted to ask you. You have there's a song called "Pray for Y'all" featuring Jr.
Oh wow, how you know about that? Well, you be doing your homework.
You're a hard person. I'm sure there's a ton of stuff that I'm missing because you're so low key, man.
Shout out to the homie J. Man.
But talk a little bit about how did that come about, and there anything else in the works with Jay Earn?
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, Jay Earn is definitely the homie. He's working on some stuff right now, and I'm working on some stuff right now. Actually, Jay Earn was just at my crib last week. Shout out to the homie Jay Earn.
Okay.
How did that come about? I mean, basically, this is a kind of a small community. You know, hip hop is kind of a small community. So if you doing something, somebody who's in the same community is bound to find out about it, right?
Right.
So, and that's crazy too, because I'm not very accessible. I'm not out there like that. Like, you know, I know a lot of people, but not everybody has access to me like that. So basically, I met Jay Earn through a friend, a close friend of mine. Shout out to my man Waylay. And Jay Earn is in a group. He's part of a 3-man group called Divine Ways Earned, right? Mm-hmm. Divine Ways Earned. And that's Duddy Divine. That's my man Duddy Divine. That's my man Waylay from Waylay Creations. And Jay Earn, Divine Ways Earned. And so my man Waylay is in that group. Jay Earn is one of his group members. So from me working with Waylay in various projects over the years and stuff like that, he brought Jay Earn to me, like, because he knows that I'm always looking for talent, looking to help people get on and stuff like that. So yeah, so we eventually just did that joint, and it's actually making quite a bit of noise. And that's a real underground single. Mm-hmm. You like that? Thank you, bro. I appreciate that, man. That single was mad underground because we didn't have a chance really to mix it and master it. Like, I sent the beat, it was mad dusty. He liked it, he rapped on it, he sent it back, and we just basically put it out, and it's been making quite a bit of noise. Thank God.
Dope.
Yes,
now,
sir.
The next thing I'm going to ask you mentioned about the UMC's Cool Kim Highs jumping on that joint way back. What was that, 84 you said, I believe?
Something like that, yeah.
84, 85, somewhere around that time. Yep. How does it come about to 2025 and you find yourself working with Cool Kim now?
That's crazy. That's how the universe works, bro. That's all. It's all God, man. And that's what I was saying earlier about what's so ironic about, you know, this moment is, so, like I mentioned earlier, my brother-in-law T-Bird Fresh is from Staten Island, right? Mm-hmm. It just so happens that Cool Kim from the UMCs is also from Staten Island.
Right.
And him and my brother-in-law were running partners back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Because they come from the same hood, basically. So I've always been aware of Cool Kim because being the hip-hop head that my brother-in-law T-Bird, rest in peace, was, he always bigged up the UMCs. That was like one of his favorite groups. He turned me on to their joint, Blue Cheese, which was one of their big singles. You know what I'm saying? I love that song. And they had another song, I can't remember the name of it too. They had a couple of bangers on there. One to Grow On. Thank you. Yep. They had a couple of bangers on that album. So he put me onto them. God bless my brother-in-law, man. Put me on to a lot of hip-hop stuff. But more specifically, put me on the Cool Kim and the UMCs back in when they first came out, 84, 85, whenever they came out, right? So I've always been aware of these dudes. Always respected and appreciated their music. So fast forward to a couple of years ago, I seen Cool Kim, and now he don't know me. He don't know nothing about me. He don't know that I know who he is. I don't know him, but I know who he is, right?
Yeah.
And I love his music, right? He don't know none of it. So fast forward to, like, I want to say 2022, maybe, somewhere around there, when COVID was going on, whenever that was.
The lockdown, yeah.
Right. So now I've never been on Instagram. I don't care about social media, none of that. Now ain't got nothing to do, so now I make me an Instagram account, right? I see Cool Kim on Instagram. I'm like, oh, I know this guy. I mean, you know, whatever. So I start following him. Then I'm seeing, like, homie is, like, still crazy nice on the lyrics. You know what I'm saying? Like, homie is the man. Like, this guy right here. You know what I'm saying? So me thinking I'm doing something, I'm like, let me send him one of my beats. You know what I'm saying? I think he was doing the 1 minute takedown, I think, at the time. Doing this thing, the 1 minute takedown.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So I'm like, all right, well, let me submit one of my beats humbly. You know what I'm saying? And then we sparked a little conversation. You know, it wasn't nothing crazy or nothing like that, but we sparked a little. He acknowledged me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think we started following each other or something like that, right? I sent him a couple of beats, nothing crazy. But I did notice that he didn't pick none of them. At least not that I know. He didn't say, "Yo, I like this." You know what I'm saying? Cool. No big deal. This is 2022, whenever COVID was. Mm-hmm. And we talked for a little bit, but then we kind of lost contact. I went out to Cali for a while. I was running around. I was doing this and that, whatever. So then, fast forward like 2-3 years later, I get a call out the clear blue. Yo, what's good? I'm like, yo, what's good? We just start chopping it up like we just talked the day before. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And he's like, yo, remember them beats that you sent me a couple of years ago? He's like, yo, a couple of them joints is kind of hot, man. I'm like, for real? I thought you wasn't even feeling them. He's like, nah, it's just like I never really had a chance to do nothing with them. You know what I'm saying? He's like, but yo, them joints is banging. I'm like, all right, so what's up? He said, well, I kind of had an idea that I was thinking about doing a project. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, maybe if you're interested, maybe, you know, we could try to get in a little work. I'm like, hell yeah, let's get it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, long story short, I don't know how many beats it was that I sent him at the time, but I think out of those beats, he ended up picking like 2 of them.
Okay.
Right? And then, you know, he's working on the project, obviously, so now I'm sending him more beats. So, you know, as fate would have it, he ended up picking like, I don't know, bro. I want to say I probably, put it this way, I probably got like 90% of the production on his new album coming out right now.
Whoa.
You know what I'm saying? So that's, hopefully I answered your question. That's kind of how that happened. Like, I ain't heard from this. Yeah. First of all, I became aware of this dude like 20-something years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And had mad love and respect for this man's craft, right? Then we kind of reconnect a little bit a couple of years back. And then nothing. And then we reconnect again. Now it's like, you know, now it's...
And damn near an album.
Man, that's... You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that was a blessing, bro. Man, I want to send a shout out to my brother Cool Kim, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, this man basically just revived like my whole situation. Like, you know, I've always been doing this, and I've never ever once thought about not doing this.
Yeah.
And I'm always gonna do this. But this brother just kind of gave me a renewed sense of purpose for doing this. You know what I mean? And not only that, but, you know, the acknowledgement from people that I look up to in this game. Like, the acknowledgement that I'm getting from these people that I look up to, man, telling me how dope my shit is. Like, Rottweiler, man, you know. Shout out to Rottweiler, man. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I just since you mentioned that, I ended up winning a beat pack from XLN Audio. Rottweiler just put out a beat pack called the Rock Files.
Yeah.
Word. And I happened to win that beat pack from them. So shout out to them. Shout out to Rottweiler. Shout out to Josh Gannett. Shout out to XLN Audio. You know what I'm saying? Nice. And I ended up making a beat with the beat pack that I won.
Yeah.
And fast forward to this week, they're having a XLN Audio is and Young Fire is putting together another contest. So basically, long story short, you win. I got the beat pack, right? You take the beat pack and you make a beat with it, and then you submit it to this contest. So I just submitted the beat that I made with the beat pack to the contest. So I'm looking forward to find out what the results of the submission is going to be. They have the results tomorrow. So fingers crossed, bro. You know.
Yeah. Wish you all the best, all the luck for that, man. That's
yes, sir. Thank you.
Wow, that's crazy, man. You know, I was gonna say, because you said your best friend,
my brother-in-law, T-Bird.
Right. Who you said
and my best friend. Yes,
right.
sir.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, put you on and now you're working and almost have the whole album with him. Like that's kind of dope in a way. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you know, like he didn't. It's like he still has that connection with you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And it's man.
That's a testament to how dope of a person he was, man. Like
That's a
I'm,
cool
I'm
story,
sure I'm
man.
not the only person that has those kind of stories about my brother-in-law, bro. Matter of
Right.
fact, when I started speaking to Cool Kim again, like as we're building our relationship, and I happened to mention to him how I know him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, my brother-in-law, T-Bird Fresh. He was like, "Oh shit, what happened to that brother? Man, I've been trying to find him for years." And I told him what happened, and he felt the same way. Like
Wow.
he hadn't seen or heard from Bird in over 25 years.
Yeah.
But when I mentioned his name, the feeling came right back to him. That's a testament to what kind of guy this dude was. You know what I'm saying? And everybody that knows him knows that about him.
Yeah,
So
that's-
shout out to
see
my
how
brother-in-law,
things work
T-Bird
though,
Fresh.
man. That's
Word.
crazy.
You
That's
see how the
crazy.
universe works?
Yeah.
See how the universe set up something 30 years ago to happen right now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so dope, man.
That's one of the reasons why I never gave up. That's one reason why I never succumbed to the bullshit and the industry side and none of that. It never was none of that to me. It's always been about the culture, how I could be better, how I could be a better person, how I could be better at my craft, how I could help somebody get on. You know what I'm saying? How I could help the next man look out for the pitfalls of what might be the industry or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I never needed those accolades. You know what I'm saying? My peers always let me know how nice I was and how much they appreciated and respect me. And that was always good enough for me. You know what I'm saying? And now my brother Cool Kim is giving me the opportunity by producing this album. By the way, the album is dope. It's called The Eye of God. It's the I, not the I, E-Y-E. It's the letter I, the Eye of God. And we got legendary artists on this joint. On one of my joints, I got Kim with Sir Mix-a-Lot on it, doing some straight hip hop, rapping. You know what I'm saying? Straight boom bap rapping. You know what I mean? On another joint, we got Do It All and Cool Kim. We got Do It All from the Lords of the Underground, doing some straight rapping on that too. You know what I'm saying? On another joint, we got my brother Taj from The Souls of Mischief.
Okay,
With Cool Kim, and we got Akil from Jurassic
Akil.
5.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. We got another joint featuring my sister, Lynx Garcia. You know what I'm saying? So we got joints for you, bro. We got joints coming, and each one of them, I gotta tell you, man, the album is gonna be hot. The Eye of God is coming soon.
Coming soon. I was just gonna ask. Okay, so okay. Wow.
There's no official release date yet. But we're just kind of like taking our time, making sure that everything. And shout out to my engineer, my man, 808 Diffraction, my man Ryan out in the Netherlands. Our engineer's out in the Netherlands right now. The brother's doing an awesome job making sure that our shit sounds right. You know what I'm saying? So shout him out too.
Okay. Man, is it too soon? You know, has there been any talks, conversations as far as, you know, like things to do when the project comes out, you know, whether it's shows, visuals for the
all
songs,
all that stuff has been talked about. There's definitely going to be videos. There's definitely going to be shows. I don't want to really say too much.
No, I got you.
No, not for nothing. It's just, you know, the timing is you know, we just got to make sure the timing is right for everything. And if it's okay, I would like to come back and talk about more. When we put the joint out, I would like to come back and talk about it.
Listen, you any time you want to come back, it's you know, whenever you say so, we can make it happen. You know, maybe we could get you and Cool Kim on and both talk about
that'd
it.
be dope.
Let me. I'll take a quick second just to shout Cool Kim out as well, man. Because
yes, sir.
like you know, I was telling you, I've been a fan ever, you know, from the UMC's days to his transition to NY Oil. You know, without knowing that was Cool Kim and all of that, and then finding out and being like, what? You know, and it's like you said, man, the guy, you know, there's not, man, I mean, there is, but there's not many that are as humble. You know, for somebody like a Cool Kim, for example, that has, man, you know, done pretty much about everything when it comes to hip hop and, you know, being different places and different accolades and everything, to take time to acknowledge, you know, people.
You want to know how humble this dude is, man? He's straight humble, man. And he don't have to be that humble. You know what I'm saying?
what
Like
I'm saying.
this man has access to everything, everybody. Like, you know, he don't have to.
That's
But
what I
just
mean,
by
yeah.
nature, I remember like when we first started back working together, right? He wanted to let me know how real something was, right? I sent him a track one time, and he was like, "Yo, this shit is fire right here." I said, "All right." I hear that a lot, so I mean, not for nothing, but you know, I hear that.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yo, let me call you back in a couple of minutes." He called me back like a half an hour later, and he had Akil and Taj on the phone. You know what I'm saying? And they both was rapping on it. They both was all three of them was on my beat.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? That's how real it is with this dude, man. He don't just be talking.
No.
He be making stuff happen, and he'll show you. You know, rather than be talking a bunch of talk, he'll just like give you enough to let you know what it is, and then he'll do something big to show you this is real, bro. Like we ain't playing with this. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to my brother, man.
Yeah, definitely shout out to him. You know, we had the pleasure of interviewing him once, man, and for me it was an honor because I was able to tell him, you know, this way, but I was able to tell him like how much I appreciated his work throughout the years.
I saw that interview too, by the way. That was a dope interview.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. It was, you know, like I said, to have moments like that, you know, to be able to tell someone like what they've meant to you know, somebody like us that you know, because not for nothing, like I think sometimes we take artists and stuff like that a little bit for granted.
I think you're right.
You know, and when you think about like how a lot of these artists, their music have got you through certain times, whether it's good, bad, you know, breakups, this, that, whatever, you put these, you know, music on and it makes you feel okay at the time, or you can deal with things, cope with things, or whatever have you. Like to be able to see, you know, that's what I love about hip hop too, is that we have an opportunity to talk or to see artists
heroes
that we grew up listening to or whatever, that we can't, you know, like I'm a big, like the Temptations, for example, are one of my favorite groups. Like you don't know what I would give to be able to meet like a David Ruffin or Eddie Kendricks and you know, I'm talking about like the original five, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And like just to be able to like tell them like,
absolutely,
yo, my mom, my youngest daughter, we all listen to the Temptations, you know what I mean?
Right.
We get to do that with hip hop.
Yes, sir, and that's
You
why
know, I mean, there's a lot that we've lost, but at the same time, there's a lot that we have here still.
Right.
So, like, for me to be able to say, you know, acknowledge that to Kool Kim, for example, and you know, not long ago, man, I finally saw Africa from the Jungle Brothers. Like, I had never seen him like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was able to tell him. I'll give you a quick story. So. My pops lived in Manhattan, right downtown, around where BMCC College is over there, right around the corner.
I used to go to BMCC.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
All my friends are from
recently.
over there. So
like
right
a couple
around,
of years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
So right around the corner, there's these tall buildings. I'm sure you saw this one that's right there. They're called IPN, Independence Plaza. All my friends are from over there. And
Greenwich Street.
Greenwich Street, yeah. I was right on Franklin and Greenwich, right there.
Yeah.
Literally used to play ball inside BMCC when I was younger. They used to open up the gym for the kids around the way. But so living around there, there's a high school not far from there called Mary Bertram.
Yeah, my boys went to Murray Bertram. Go ahead.
So one day we walked. We're young though, you know what I mean. We're not. That's a high school.
Yeah.
We're not in high school yet. At the time, we were going to IS 70, which is like at the time was like an intermediate, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade or whatever. But Mary Bertram on Sundays, if I'm not mistaken, used to open up their gym, and kids could go and just play ball. So they had a talent show one night or whatever, and we went. A bunch of us kind of went over there, got into school somehow. I don't even remember how. And snuck into the auditorium. Performing on the stage was the Jungle Brothers.
Okay. They should give dope shows at BMCC. Yep.
No, this was at Mary Bertram.
Oh, okay.
This
All
was
right.
at Mary Bertram. So I didn't know who that was. It's just I remember vividly one guy with no shirt on had, I believe, like a white, looked like a white bucket hat type of thing, and that was it. But I remember like the song that was being played, or that they were doing. I mean, at the time, I just kind of remember that's like staying in my head. But again, I don't know because we're young. We're not supposed to be even being there, so I have no clue who's on stage or what's going on or nothing. Fast forward, I don't know what the time was between that talent show and this time when I'm hearing a song on the radio. But I remember being with a friend of mine that that went to that show, and I'm hearing, and I'm like, "Yo, that's the song that they were performing that day at the talent show."
Word.
I'm like, "Yo, it was bragging and boasting."
Mm.
It was bragging and boasting, man, because I never forgot that. To this day, is one of my favorite. As I just knock everything down,
Okay.
but I don't know if you could see. Hold on.
The light is kind of reflected on it, but I'm familiar with that.
Can you see it?
Yeah. Yep.
One of my favorites. So
Yes, sir.
anyway, fast forward to this past summer, I had the pleasure of seeing him in person at an event, and I was able to tell him that story of how that, you know what I mean, how that impacted me, and
That's dope, man.
so
that's
anyway,
dope.
long story just to say that it's so cool that we get that opportunity, man, to give you guys the flowers and show how much your music and everything impacts us.
Thank you, my brother.
And I'm including
Thank
you in that because
Well, you said you guys, so I heard you.
yeah.
Thank you.
That's what I'm saying. I'm
My
including
man.
you in that as well.
My
because,
man.
I mean, look, now here we are talking about a new album coming out with Kool Kim, for example. So and I think when I saw Kool Kim posted, I was like, oh man, I can't wait. That was my first comment when he posted the joint, the one that he put out.
Yeah.
So anyway, all of that to say, man, I know there's a million more things that we could talk about, but I don't want to keep more of your time. I appreciate everything
I'm
you've
good.
given
Thank
me.
you for having me here, bro.
And we're looking forward to this project coming out. Hopefully you do other stuff as well in the near
Yes,
future.
sir.
And
Yes,
I know
sir.
you said you're not really big with the Instagram, but I see you've been pretty active.
I mean, my
hope you
phone has
stay
been going
active.
crazy lately, so I had to,
Yeah.
now I got to show something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just
I got to be a little more active, bro. People calling
stay
me and they
active
want
as much as you can. I know it's a pain and it's almost like another job just
Yeah,
just
I
to
mean,
be-
you know what? It's not really a pain. It's just it's time consuming. You know what I'm saying? So while I'm just going about my daily day, I got to make the beat, I got to post it, I got to make a video, I got to do this, do that,
And you
which is
wanna
cool.
make it look good
I
too,
love doing
everything,
that. It's a little more time consuming.
Yeah,
than
yeah,
that,
Well,
But
stay,
thank you for having me here, man.
Yeah, no, stay at it, man, because you definitely have, the NSWAY 73 TV. The TV stands for Talent and Vision, and you definitely have the talent. You know what I mean? And obviously, the vision is manifesting for you. Now. Even though you've done a lot of things beforehand.
Yeah, but it took me like 40 years to get my first major placement, bro. I've been making beats for a long time. It took me 40 years to get my first major placement. So that's a testament to you guys, man. Whatever you believe in, keep believing in it and don't ever give up. You know what I'm saying? Because it's going to happen.
Well, like I said, you have both the talent, you have the vision going on, so I appreciate you. Let everybody know if you want, where they can find you, if they want to get at you, for some beats or whatever.
Yeah, by all means.
Or anything else you do, because I know you said, you there's other facets of media that you do as well.
Right.
But yeah, let the people know where they can find you.
Okay, well, first of all, you can go to my website. You can see it right there, MannyStylz.com. That's MannyStylz.com. And that pretty much will tell you everything you need to know about me. I've said everything here. But, you can go there and just if you want some beats or whatever, there's a contact page. Just hit me up on my contact page and submit whatever inquiries that you have, and I'll be happy to get back to you as soon as I can. And also, you can hit me on the gram at Manny.Stylz. And that's pretty much it. I'm not on Facebook or any other platforms, but between my website, you can always contact me on the website. I get emails there daily, and on the gram, Manny.Stylz.
Nice. Once again, thank you, Manny Stylz. Appreciate you taking the time. We'll be looking out for the album. Let me know, when it comes out, so I can help push that as
Absolutely.
well. And anything else you got going on, and like you said before, we'll do it again once everything is out and rolling, and so we can listen to it and have a little bit more to talk about as far as the album goes. But once again, shout out to Cool Kim.
Word.
Keep it going, like I told you before, man. We over here rooting for you. And
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you to everybody tuning in and watching this episode. Another one of Sway 73 TV. Don't forget, hit the subscribe, like, share this with everybody. And until the next one, man, peace.
Yes, sir.
All right.